before this kind of?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the basketball schedule coming back, throws a monkey wrench in a lot of things that we're doing. But I'm happy. Good for them. It's good that these guys get this back on and get to play. So we'll figure out the way in.
You guys are at the Chicago Theater downtown.
We'll figure something out. It's probably what we'll do.
How worried are you about GSP long term?
I'm not. I mean, this is an injury that happens a lot. When you're an athlete, blowing out your ACL is pretty normal.
So the prognosis, once he has the surgery, he should be back good as ever?
Yep. Which all depends on the individual, I mean, he's a pretty explosive, athletic guy.
He's probably going to do all the rehab he has to do.
Exactly. Well, he told me, he says, I'm going to spend as much money as it takes to make this right and come back 100%. So he's going to get the best surgery possible. He's going to get the best doctor. He's going to get the best therapist to rehab him. And
does it just frustrate you personally, though, when guys like GSP and Lesnar have health problems? Pretty bad luck. That's probably your two biggest draws.
Well, the problem is, and I don't mean this to sound insensitive, but when your product is human beings, you're going to have problems. Injuries, personal problems. It's a laundry list of problems you have when you're dealing with athletes.
And then what about the flyweight class? What you said you're going to have an announcement?
This weekend. I should have something by this weekend.
Okay.
But it's happening. I told you guys it was happening, and it's happening.
Do you anticipate moving some bantamweights down? Joseph Benavidez.
I'm not moving anybody. Those guys can make that decision themselves on what weight division they want to fight in. But I have a feeling that 125-pound division is going to be as nasty as 55 and 70. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of talent there.
John Dodson.
Dodson's awesome, man. Awesome.
When you do something like that, you guys obviously have to go out and basically build a roster before you can announce, hey, the flyweights are here and here's who we have.
Yep.
So how long did it take you to do something like that?
I've been
talking
working
about it for 18 months. Right?
Yeah, I've been working on it for months. Yep.
Do you have to look outside the U.S. a lot for those guys?
Trust me, it just happens. When you announce a weight division, especially, I think you're going to see a lot of, at 125 pounds, you're going to see a lot of Hispanic, a lot of Asian fighters now coming to compete at that weight. Traditionally, if you look at boxing, they dominated those weight classes. It was either Asian or Hispanics came in and just dominated them.
How exciting is it to be able to bring in a bunch of people that most of the mainstream fans have never heard of?
Yeah.
You guys get to market a whole new set of
Well, I think that if anything proved how awesome the small guys are, it was this season of The Ultimate Fighter. I mean, how about the finale? The finale was incredible. The Diego fight's probably the best one round I've ever seen in a fight, and then Dodson is just phenomenal. That guy's an amazing, explosive athlete.
Speaking of the finale, you said afterwards you were pretty disappointed in Miller's performance. You weren't sure what you were going to do with him.
I still don't know. Yeah. I mean, it was bad.
I mean, was it a disappointment factor for you, or was it just pretty bad? Did you expect more?
I mean, to be honest, believe me, my Twitter's been blowing up with all the Mayhem fans, blasting me. But facts are facts. It was the worst stand-up I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if I've ever seen stand-up that bad. The guy's been in the business for over 10 years. Looked like it was his first fight ever. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Do you think it was ring rust?
I don't even know what to call it. I mean, I've seen guys with some ring rust. They don't go like this. You know what I mean? They don't go like that. I mean, some of the punches that were thrown by Mayhem Miller in this fight.
Did he talk to you?
You could go to a girls' Taibo class and see better form and better stand-up. I mean, it was embarrassing.
Why are you choosing to return or take UFC to Japan now, especially with the state of MMA as it is now?
Because we believe that Asia is a huge market, and not just Japan, but Korea, China, the Philippines. The list goes on, and we're just kicking it off.
Do you think the crumbling of Dream is just a perfect time to come in now, or?
Yeah, I think do I think that we're going to go back and do this event there, and it's going to be like Pride in its prime with 100,000 and K1 in its prime? No, we're going to go back there, and there's going to be people who are UFC fans. The mixed martial arts that existed in Japan is completely different than what the UFC is. You can't even compare the two. It was a lot like pro wrestling. Yes, you had a lot of great fighters out there, but they would do a lot of pro wrestling type stuff. We're going to go in there, we're going to put on a UFC event, the event that we put on all over the world, and there are fans of the UFC there, and we're going to continue to grow that market.
Any chance you're going to invite Saki Kabara?
Saki Kabara, he's more than welcome to come if he would like to come.
Your first 5 fights in 2012, besides Brazil and Vegas, the hometown show, in Chicago, Nashville, Omaha, which you haven't been back to the 3 of those in a long time.
Yep.
Again, is that just a scheduling fluke, or do you look at those and say, we haven't been here in a while, we've got
where are we going to go? We did this last year, we hit that the year before, and all the Omaha, Nebraska was a huge market for us, and so was Nashville. So, yeah, we're going to hit them again.
Dana, are you worried that adding another division, another lighter division, will actually thin out your 145 and 135? Was that a thought that maybe it won't be stacked enough for title shots and whatnot?
Not at all. Nope. Good
Dana,
question.
As other companies crumble and the issue of monopoly, which you guys aren't, you've made that point, but before there was a UFC do not compete clause with their fighters. Is that why to have this many fighters, you have to put on a show like every 2 weeks?
A UFC do not compete?
Like if a UFC fighter can't go compete elsewhere.
Oh,
There's
right.
been fighters
you're under exclusive contract with us, which is like you're like saying Brady can play anywhere he wants to.
Yeah, but you guys have to continue to put on a show like a week by how many fighters you've acquired.
Right.
Is that the plan going forward, or will you just say, okay, well, some of you can compete, or are you staying do not compete?
If you're with the UFC, you sign an exclusive contract with us, just like any other sports organization. You know, and yeah, I mean that's the way it'll always be.
And then you just have to put on more and more shows so more and more families eat.
All the guys, and the thing that you asked about us being, monopoly and all that bullshit, we're just the best at what we do. We're the best at it. There's a lot of, there's no barrier to entry to get into this. We're not making fucking computer chips over here. You know what I mean? We're putting on fights. You come up with 3 letters and you go out and raise some money and you could be in the business tomorrow. So,
For the Fox shows, do they have to be quarterly? Are you going to do quarterly, or could there be another Fox show in March?
Yeah, no.
Is the goal to do quarterly?
Yes.
How many live fights will be on this Fox one?
How many live fights?
Yeah, you've announced 3.
Oh, yeah, right. We're going to run this just like we normally do any of our shows. This is the triple header right here, but if time permits, we'll add other fights in, just like we do with all of our other, everybody's got all crazy over that first Fox fight. The first Fox fight was designed to be one fight, the heavyweight championship, to introduce more people to the UFC and to the sport, to what it is and what it's all about. It was never supposed to be a night packed full of crazy fights. Like, when you watch us now on television, we burst onto the TV, man. Me and Rogan are screaming, and then the thing comes on, and this is the fight that's going to happen. We tell you that, and the fights just go, 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 go. You can't bust onto broadcast television like that. You have to come on and explain who we are. Believe it or not, we live in this bubble, and not everybody. If you walk down the streets of every major city in this country, you're going to find a lot of people that don't know what the hell the UFC is. I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. I don't know. So there had to be this introduction and a little bit of educating on broadcast television. And that's what we did with the first Fox fight.
Why not do a 5-fight card then, like a usual card?
This is 2 hours, and different than what we normally do is, and I said that when we get on to Fox, there's going to be more storytelling, kind of getting in-depth and explaining who these guys are and what this thing really means.
Is it going to have the same pre-show and post-show thing like the first thing on Fuel?
Yep.
Is Evans Davis going to be 5 rounds or 3 rounds?
It's 5 rounds.
Okay. Is that the only one that's going to be 5 rounds?
Yeah. Yep.
Mentioned
they were all 5 rounds and all went 5 rounds.
I was just thinking since that they're number 1 contender matches. So,
no, it's true. It's the triple header. They're all the main event, but you got to have one main event.
You mentioned in San Jose you were thinking about doing 4 fights on this show. I mean, if it's going to be just 3 now, was that just a simple matter of taking a look at the math?
It'll end up being 4. You know how it works. I mean, I mean, could all 3 of these fights go the distance? Sure, they could. If they do, then there'll be 3 fights. But if not, we'll be sliding fights in and making up time because you got the prelims and the whole undercard.
Do you know if they've started selling ad space for it, commercials and things like that? And
I'm sure they have. Yeah. They killed it the first time. Imagine it was pretty easy to sell it the second time.
And then one more quick Fox thing. Do you know if was the date targeted around the NFL being on its off week for the playoffs the week before the Super Bowl?
I'm sure it was, yeah. I'm sure it was. They give us the dates.
Some people surprised how cheap the tickets priced in the United States for the UFC fight in January. Is there any explanation to this?
People ask what?
The tickets are priced too cheap for this event.
The price is too cheap? I'm glad they feel that way.
You could raise the price
Perfect.
on Sunday after I get mine on Saturday.
Perfect. I'm glad to hear that. Usually people are bitching that it's too expensive. I'm glad. We undersold ourselves here. I like it.
In regards to Twitter, there's a lot of fighters on Twitter now. Do you ever think of putting in code of ethics for Twitter? Because you know the problem with Forrest a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Do you ever think of putting a code of ethics for Twitter in?
Here's the thing. We do every year. We bring guys in and we have the UFC Summit and we go through everything with them. I don't know if you've ever seen me on Twitter. Maybe somebody should teach me a code of ethics. But I think that we're heading into a different world here. It's a different time. It's a different day and age where you connect with the fans. And people say dumb shit sometimes. You know, fans come on and say dumb stuff. If you say some dumb shit, expect to get some dumb shit back. It is what it is. I'm not one of these guys who runs the company and is going to have everybody hide from Twitter and and you're dealing with fighters. And if you think you're going to come on and start saying stupid things to people and blasting them, and the Forrest Griffin thing was taken out of context. The Forrest Griffin thing, what he said made absolute sense. Twitter isn't the place to say it. You only have so many characters to explain yourself in what he was saying. It wasn't demeaning rape and saying anything positive or whatever about rape. He was saying as he turned on the TV that morning, there was a story about Penn State. He literally changed to another news. There was another story, and then the third channel he went to, there was another story about rape. I mean, it's everywhere. It's all over television. It's like rape is the new missionary. It's all over the place. So, believe me, when I saw his tweet and I called him, I said, I can't wait for the fucking explanation on this one. I mean, I don't know what he's going to say that's going to make me think that this was the right thing to tweet. And it wasn't. You don't tweet stuff like that where you can't explain yourself immediately. But it is what it is.
Oh, sorry. Did you ask him to make the donation or visit with that rape crisis
I'll tell you something about Forrest Griffin. And I'm a guy who's been in this situation before. When you say something like that publicly and all these groups start coming after you, right? They all start coming after you and they all want to get the PR off, getting you to apologize for what you said. Forrest Griffin, there's this charity in Las Vegas called Foursquare. And basically, in Las Vegas, I guess in every major city, but Las Vegas, there's something like 580,000 kids that don't eat every day. Like when they go to school, the only meal they eat that day is school food. So when Friday comes, they don't eat again till Monday at lunch at school. I mean, that's crazy. You don't even think that things like this exist until you learn about them. So we're sitting down with this charity, Foursquare, and they're giving us, all the information and everything. And they said, you guys know a guy named Forrest Griffin? Yeah, we know Forrest Griffin. He said, well, I guess he used to come in there and he would put on a hat and everything and go in the back and start cooking and stuffing boxes and making food, and he would work there all day. Then when he left, he would write a check. And he would do it every day. And they told us that about Forrest. We didn't even know that. And Forrest does all kinds of good things, So Forrest was so upset that this thing happened. He was all over it on his own and tried to make it better. Forrest Griffin is a good guy. And 90% of the guys who fight for us are good guys. I'm not going to say every guy that fights for us is a great guy, because believe me, we got some real idiots that fight for us too. It is what it is. But
can you name some names on that?
Easily. And that's the type of person Forrest Griffin is. So believe me, when I see guys, and I know the difference when something bad goes down, and I got a guy that I think, probably needs to be reprimanded for what he did, then we do it. And when there's a case that I see where a guy is getting hung out to dry because he was misunderstood in what he said, I will defend him to the end.
Speaking of guys saying quote unquote dumb things, you got Chael he's been accused of saying dumb things in the past, but he's obviously a natural at the promotion and the marketing of this thing. Have you ever worked with anybody even remotely close to him in the past?
Not even anywhere near. Not even. I mean, seriously, and this, believe me, I'm sure everybody's going to go crazy over this one, but I'm just telling you, I've never seen anybody who can talk like this guy can since Muhammad Ali. Seriously. Since Muhammad Ali. The stuff that just comes right off the top of his head and is hilarious. It's just, and you don't know what's real and what's not real.
What about, compare that to Michael Bisping, because Chael gets a lot of love.
Well, Bisping's just
tries
a dick.
to do it, and people hate
Bisping doesn't try to do it. Bisping is who he is, and there's certain guys that just have this thing about them that you're just not going to like. Michael Bisping is one of them, and so is Josh Koscheck. These guys could go out and try to make everything better and say nice things, and you're still going to not like them.
On Friday at the weigh-ins, obviously you would walk off stage, and I'm sure you heard what he said.
Yep.
To probably a couple hundred people there, but do you have any?
And my response to that is, and believe me, all the media was calling me, going, he told the fans to fuck off, he flipped them off, and everything else. And I said, guess what? The day of the weigh-ins, these guys have been away from their families for 8 weeks. They're cutting weight for the last 2 days. They're miserable, they're nasty, and if you're yelling stupid stuff to the guy, he's a fighter. What do you think he's going to say to you? Thank you very much and have a great day? No, he left and said fuck you and flipped him off. Apparently, do I encourage that? Do I want guys to say that? Apparently, Michael Bisping doesn't want any fans. What do you want me to, you know what I mean? He doesn't want fans. This isn't the NFL, man. This isn't the NBA. It's the fight business. There's some things that are unacceptable, and there's some things that are like, I hear you.
With Fox with shows going on Fox and more promotion, more advertising, Nick Diaz always says, I need to make more money, I need to make more money. Does this help them? Because their advertising's viewed by more people, you guys are on a bigger venue.
Dude, I guarantee you Nick Diaz makes more money
than he says.
I know what Nick Diaz makes.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I don't want to insult everybody here. I'm telling you right now.
No, you're probably right.
I stopped you really quick.
He makes more money than everybody here combined.
Yeah.
Trust me, okay? Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, it's human nature.
Yeah.
We all want to make more money. You're not making enough. You're not making enough. You're not making enough. Everybody wants to make more money, and everybody feels they deserve to make more money. Nick Diaz makes a lot of fucking money. Mm-hmm. A lot of money.
With the sport growing,
if he doesn't know what he's making, he needs a better accountant. And as far as buying a house, he can buy whatever house he wants to buy in Stockton, California. If he wants to move out of Stockton, he can do that too.
One of the questions I have.
When I called him on that day at the press conference, what did he say? He said, I didn't go to school to buy houses.
Oh.
That's what he said.
Are you going to refer him a realtor?
I didn't even know what to say to that question. You know what I mean? That was one of the most awkward press conferences in history. I mean, it was just, I know what he makes. I hope he knows what he makes. And none of us went to school to buy a house. Maybe some of you are realtors here, I don't know. But, Nick Diaz, all the things you're asking me about Nick Diaz are part of what makes Nick Diaz Nick Diaz.
When it comes to you going to Japan or Alistair Overeem moved here to train, do you run into work visa issues? Do you guys handle that directly? Is that a them problem?
We handle it.
You do?
Yep. We make sure all that stuff's taken care of and dialed in.
Do you guys ever run into a problem with it? Like you're going to Japan, is there someone who
Yeah, I mean, there's problems here and there. Ever since 9/11 and all that stuff, it's tougher getting certain guys into other places, but it's part of what we do. It's what we do for a living, so we figure it out.
Okay.
Have you definitively decided what's next for Anderson Silva? Is it going to be the Son and Munoz winner, definitely?
Yeah, definitely. It's the winner of this fight. It would have been Sonnen had he been healthy, and Sonnen said, I'm not waiting for him, I want to fight. So the fight that made absolute sense was him and Munoz, and
and Anderson, it's a shoulder. Sonnen